starting with the guys up front, is they played extremely hard. They're starting to finally play with some of the intensity and pad level and technique that you're looking for. I think our running backs, ran harder. They were specific about hitting the holes. Obviously, then you throw in Lombardi, and with him making some good checks and then also taking the ball and running it when it became available puts a lot of stress on defenses. So I just think it was the whole group. And don't leave out the receivers. They blocked really well. They were physical on the perimeter. They got to the safeties, and that's huge to have success in the run game, especially against a team like Northwestern where about 90% of the time everybody on defense is 8 yards from the ball. And so I just felt like it was a full offensive effort, and it started up front with those guys and our backs running hard.
And Mel said, too, last week, I think it was, that watching film, it felt like you guys were that close a lot in the last couple of weeks. Almost made him sick at times to see how close you guys were. Did you see that coming, too, and did the guys, the players, sense that it was close as well?
Yeah, if you just look at the stats, it's pretty ugly. But when you're watching the games and if you're really focusing on the inside, you saw some improvement. And really, the week of preparation for Maryland was the best week of practice we had all year. It was one of the few times that all 5 guys were out there at the same time practicing all week. And I was excited to play that game because I felt like we were making really good progress. And then obviously that got shut down on Thursday. And, so I wanted to see if our guys could respond and have another good week, which they did. So I think that, like Coach said, you kind of seen some things starting to change, and we still got a lot of work ahead of us, but I'm hoping we'll continue to improve there.
Thanks.
Next question goes to Chris, Detroit Free Press.
Chris, good to see you. I kind of wanted to dig into a little bit about your philosophy with those guys up front. You haven't done a whole lot of rotating up on that line. I guess, how much does that consistency in continuity help maybe build and develop versus maybe getting guys experience, or does it matter because you have a bunch of experienced guys who have played already?
Yeah, again, if you're in a situation where you have 2 or 3 guys you feel like you can play and there's not a drop-off, you definitely want to do that at times. Our lineup has changed a little bit through the season, and then we've had, like I said, we've had guys missing some practice time that made it a little bit difficult, but, we need to build continuity. A lot of these guys have been injured and up and down throughout their career. So just trying to get them to be consistent, practice every day, and play every week is going to start to see us pay dividends there. So, continuity is critical, like you're saying, but you do want to get to a point where you have some competition and you could play a few other guys, and, that's just going to push the guy that was starting. It's going to motivate the guy that's the backup to practice hard so he knows he can get out there and get some reps. So we're going to get there. It's not quite there yet.
As a follow to that, 2 of those guys who've been in that boat that you were talking about with the injuries are Curry and Jarvis. I mean, how have they done in terms of setting the edge for you guys out there and staying sturdy? Because I don't feel like they've come off the field very much at all for you guys.
Yeah, no, we're depending on those 2 quite a bit, and they know that, and they've played and practiced through, your minor bumps and bruises and injuries. And, if you look at those 2 from game 1 to Saturday night, they've improved quite a bit, which, again, I think a lot of that's being able to practice on a daily basis and play a lot. So those 2 guys are very important for where we're at with our depth right now, no question.
Next question will go to Rico Cooney with Spartan Magazine.
How you doing, Coach? Good afternoon. Hey, a little bit about development in terms of guys. And I guess the guy that I'm leaning more towards is Nick, and just watching him over these past few weeks and his growth. Talk a little bit about him and his development and how his development has helped the offensive line as a whole.
Yeah, Nick has steadily improved. Nick's got a lot of athletic ability. He's really pretty athletic for an interior guy in the center. If you see him moving around, he's got to continue to get stronger and probably build a little bit more of a base in his weight, which he's working on. But the thing that's really stood out is and a lot of it's tied into getting the reps he's getting, is he's starting to kind of calm down. The game's slowing down for him. He's able to make the calls we need him to make to get us in the right positions. And I feel like that's something that's improved each week. And you can see the confidence just in his eyes and his face when he's practicing. And so I'm pleased with his progress. And I think that his ceiling's a lot higher. He's got a long way he can improve, and he knows that. But I love his attitude and effort. I mean, he comes to work every day. He's a positive person. I mean, there's nothing we're asking him to do that he thinks is too much, and that's really encouraging.
It's just a quick follow-up to that. When you look at your guys as a group, I mean, you've been in this game long enough. You know that offensive line, doesn't get enough credit, and then when there's a mistake, they get too much put on their shoulders.
Right.
Talk about these guys in this group and kind of their mental attitude and understanding that it's a process, and they're in the middle of a process.
Yeah, that's where you miss the spring and summer so much, because you never had a chance to really do the things you want to do in winter conditioning and spring ball, to establish the mindset, work ethic, attitude, all those things early, so they understand what's going to take. So first day we were in pads was the second practice, I think, of the second training camp. It was the first time we ever had them in pads together. So we really, there's a lot of improvement needed to happen, and not just physically, but mentally. And that's the thing that's been great is they have embraced it. You see kids opting out all over the country. The season's not going the way it wants to, but I'm not seeing any of that. These guys, they want to get better. They come to work every day. I think they're hungry. They see that they can improve. And so that's encouraging. That excites you as a coach to come every day and have another opportunity to get better on that practice field and take it to Saturday. So we should improve through this season, and then through the off season. There's a long way for us to go, but I really believe we can get there. And we just need to do it daily.
Thank you, Coach.
We have time for a couple more. I'll try to get these questions in. We'll go to Matt Wenzel with them live. Matt.
Hey, Chris. Obviously, we saw the improvement on the ground last week against Northwestern. Before that, you guys had used as many as 5 running backs in the game, really spreading out carries. This past week with Jordan out, you guys only used 2 for the first time all season. I was wondering what your thoughts are on that rotation, whether I know Anthony's obviously in the portal, but whether you see it shrinking as the season progresses.
Yeah, that's a good question. I see us playing 2 or 3 guys, on a regular basis. But I think, we really as an offense made a commitment to the run game this week. Sometimes in the run game, you have to get a rhythm going. You need to get those guys some back-to-back carries and get those old linemen some back-to-back runs and kind of get a rhythm going. And I thought that was something we did Saturday, and sometimes it can look like you're being conservative, but, the game plan was obviously to be physical. And at the end of the day, we all know this. We can't turn the dang ball over. And if you don't turn the ball over, that lets you have more possessions, more plays, and a chance to get better in all aspects. And so I don't see us playing 4 or 5 backs per se going forward, but I think 2 or 3 is fair.
And of the offensive linemen who had starting experience for you guys previously last year, especially the only 2 we haven't seen is Luke Campbell and Devontae Dobbs. I was wondering if those guys could be part of the rotation moving forward the rest of the year.
Those guys are working through, trying to work through some injuries and work through just get improvement. So I don't know if we'll see them this year, but hopefully if we don't see them this year, that we'll definitely see some improvement and see them next year.
Thanks, Chris.
We have time for 2 more questions. We'll go to Stephen Brooks at 24/7 Sports, and then we'll wrap it up with Colton Pouncey with the Athletics. Stephen?
Hey, Chris. Hope you're well. I wanted
you.
to sort of follow up on what you were just asked. I guess also Spencer Brown would be another guy I don't think we've seen yet. Can you give me an update on him and any other guys that you're comfortable playing right now but just haven't played yet, where you've kind of stuck with that 5? And then maybe Blake, I think, is a 6th guy. But, that next group that you're comfortable with right now.
Yeah, Blake was really playing at a high level those first couple games. And so hopefully we'll see him back soon. And, Spencer Brown's a young man that's got a lot of tools. And again, I hate to beat a dead horse here, but not having a spring and summer, that was something that's needed by all of us, but for him, that would have been huge. But I have seen him improve week to week. So, he's a guy that's definitely in the plans going forward. And when that's going to be, I don't know, but he's definitely somebody we're counting on. Another young man, James Ohamba, is another one that has improved quite a bit throughout this season. He got some spot play a couple weeks ago and actually did a decent job. I'm starting to feel more comfortable about having him out there as well. So those two guys for sure have shown some improvement throughout this season. And, when we're going to see them, I don't know, but I do feel like those are guys that'll be in the mix at some point.
And quickly, I just wanted to ask, I've noticed when you guys are going out for offense, you and the offensive linemen sort of have your own huddle, and then everybody else almost has their own thing, and then maybe you guys get together before you go out there. But what are the conversations in your little O-line huddle? Is that just firing them up, or is it something beyond that, before you guys take the field?
Yeah, if the situation is, TV timeout or we got a little time, then we kind of do our own huddle because, the things I'm talking to them about with the next series, I want them to focus on me and what I'm saying and not be 11 guys in there and 4 coaches talking at the same time. So it's just a matter of pulling them aside, just going through the next series and, all the little things that could come up, making sure that we're aware and just giving them, a few words of encouragement where it's just us and not everybody else yelling and talking.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Our last question will go to Colton Pouncey with The Athletic.
Hey, Chris. I know the early signing period is coming up later this month, so I just want to ask, what is it that you look for in an offensive line recruit, and how do you go about identifying prospects to target?
Well, just for the physical attributes, the one thing you want to see from them is their athletic ability in the sense of how good are their feet? Do they have the ability to bend, defensive lines, defensive what they're trying to attack us. They don't just line up and go straight ahead anymore. There's a lot of movement, a lot of blitzing and all those things. So you got to have guys that have some athletic ability, and I also feel like we need to get bigger here. So that's another thing we've been looking for is trying to get some size. And, you're really seeing when you're looking those guys, you got some big men that maybe aren't quite athletic enough to play on the edges. So, you can slide them in at guard, but then you're trying to find some of those athletic guys with some length that can play on the edges and be physical in the run game, but be able to protect your quarterback. And, those tackles are a premium when you're out there looking for them. And, there's not a lot of them. So, but just going back, do they have good feet? Can they bend? The other thing is how do they play the game? Do they play hard? If you had time and you could measure their heart and find out how much they love football, because playing O-line is really, I hate to say it's not fun, but what you do on a day-to-day basis probably isn't fun for them as far as in practice and whatnot. Our fun is, in the meeting rooms and the brotherhood we have. So you got to have some guys that really embrace the grind and love the game. And back in the day in recruiting, you can know a kid for 3 to 4 years and offer him his senior year. That's not happening anymore. So you're trying to do the best you can to make an evaluation and talk to the people that are around them on their daily life and really try to find out, is this kid, can he handle adversity? Can he embrace the grind? And then the physical attributes mixed with that, and then you go after him.